Oh, hey guys, it's David Barnett from investlocalbook.com, the blog site and YouTube channel where I talk about buying and selling small businesses, managing businesses, personal finance, making investment in businesses, and anything else that my viewers, listeners, and readers want to ask me about. As you may know, I just got back recently from a vacation in Europe and had a fabulous time. While I was there, I was able to arrange for a quick consulting call on clarity. And it was interesting because I was sitting on a park bench in Belgium, and it was a beautiful day, and I was speaking to this guy actually in Toronto. And he had called me because he wanted some advice on some things that they could do to try to prepare themselves or ways that they could find someone to come and buy their business. And he had a story of someone in their industry who was a little bit larger than them who had actually succeeded in selling their business to someone else. They had been acquired. And he wanted some feedback on how he could do the same thing for his business. And we started talking, and we started talking about the type of industry that they were in and the size of the business and the margins that he had. And he was trying to decide if he wanted to go to some kind of broker or intermediary or if he wanted to try and bring someone in-house who would be given the task of finding someone to sell the business. And we were discussing these things, and in the middle of all that discussion, he made one brief little comment that took the conversation in a completely different direction. And he basically said that he and the other initial founding partners of the business couldn't add anything else onto their plates because they were already working almost 16 hours a day. And I stopped him right there. I said, explain, how is it that you're working 16 hours a day? And he basically, tried to use an excuse of time zones. He said they had different, people working in different parts of the world and clients all over the place. And they needed to have this, the ability to talk to people at all different times. And I said, why don't you have other people on your team? Why aren't you bringing new people on board to take over some of these tasks to liberate your time so that you can, enjoy life? And of course, I asked him the question. I said, who is going to want to acquire a business where the principal management in the company has to work 16 hours a day? And I find that there's a lot of people out there who believe that when you start a business and have a business operating, that this hard work all the time is actually a critical or required component of being an entrepreneur. And quite frankly, it's not. A properly designed business doesn't feature an 80-hour work week. So I asked him a simple question. I said, let me guess. And he had complained that they had difficulty getting people on board and keeping employees. And I said, let me guess. They come in, they're not clearly given a definition of what exactly it is that they're supposed to do and their responsibilities. They're expected just to pick things up by working with other people. And then all of a sudden some critical task ends up, not getting done. And everyone thinks that somebody else was going to be doing it. And the blame ultimately falls on the new guy because the person who used to do it believes that the new guy is now going to do it. And then that person starts to feel like they're not really part of the team, and they start to feel ostracized, they start to feel like outsiders, and then they leave. And he said, you know what? He said, that's exactly what has happened, and it's happened over and over and over again. And then he said, maybe we need an HR person. And I said, you don't need an HR person. You need to read the book, The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And I explained how businesses grow and become large by having a plan. And that plan involves having an org chart put in place with all of the different roles in the company and all the different job descriptions that go with that, so that the people who do the different roles understand exactly what they're responsible for and what tasks they're supposed to be doing. And that way, nobody can say, I didn't know I was supposed to be doing that. Now, for a new company, there could be 30 roles identified in an org chart, and maybe you've only got 3 people, 5 people, 10 people in the company. So the same names are going to appear in a lot of different boxes. But when you hire a new person, you're then able to go to the org chart and you remove some people from certain roles and you put the new person into those spots. And then you're able to hand them a job description and clearly define what it is that they're doing. When we were reviewing the whole scenario that one of their competitors in the space was acquired and they were not, some of the things that came out were that the competitor was larger and had a much larger staff. And I said to him, when people go out looking to buy a company, they want something that works. They're looking at profitability, they're looking at sales, etc. But if they see an organization that is basically on the shoulders of a couple of people where nothing is systematized and nothing is organized, that's a big red flag for a lot of potential investors. Who would want to pay money to come in and take over a business where the current owner has to work 80 hours a week to make it work, right? So I work with a lot of people. I have a couple of mentoring clients where I'm actually taking people through the process of doing this kind of organization in their business and having the structure in place, the job descriptions, the workflows, so that new members of the team know exactly what is expected of them. This is an important part of building a business. And the reason why I keep referring to the book, The E-Myth, written by Michael Gerber, is that in the E-Myth, Gerber exposes the difference between an entrepreneur, someone who's building a business and creating a design, an artist, if you will, versus a technician, who is somebody who knows how to do a certain task. And the example that I've always used is always the auto mechanic, the guy who knows how to fix cars, so he decides to open his own garage, versus the guy who builds an automotive repair business where responsibilities and tasks are defined so that it can grow to 30 or 40 employees, and the owner doesn't have to be there all the time making all the decisions and telling people what to do. Thanks a lot for listening. I always like to share stories of real-world examples of things that I come across. And if you have any questions about buying or selling businesses or running small businesses, please send them in. Don't forget to go to investlocalbook.com and sign up for my email list. You're going to get videos and information every Friday before it's released generally to the public. Thanks, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye-bye.